Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. This segment brought to you by our good friends at BetOnline.net. And speaking of betting, it's legal in the state of New York and New Jersey, but not here in Georgia. Did you guys see the renderings of the sports book they're going to put in Wrigley Field? Wow. I mean, talk about gorgeous, and I mean absolutely gorgeous. Every stadium, every arena should have something like that, 100%. And as soon as they legalize it here, Governor Kemp, um, I could totally envision something like that at the Battery in Truist Park. It would be amazing. Imagine if you can't get tickets to the game or don't even want to go into the game, to be right there in the Battery at a sports book, watching it, drinking, enjoying it, celebrating, betting on it, all that stuff coming together in one fail swoop. That's just, we need to catch up with the times here, Georgia. I can't say it enough, Governor Kemp. I know you're listening because you're a big fan of A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. So I fully expect that as soon as all the selection stuff is over, that you'll legalize gambling just for me. Thanks. Appreciate it. Speaking of Locked On Sports Atlanta, check out all the great shows we got here. Of course, there's A to Z. You're hitting hard with John Chuckery, ATL Day Ones with Jarvis Davis and Tanisha Batiste. Don't forget about our Braves postcast, Locked On Falcons, Locked On Hawks, all that right here. And make sure you subscribe and like to our YouTube channel on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Okay. It is tough times. It's a tough world, and we all live in a very tough world, but it's really, really poor form for you to make the concept of, taking 36.5, $37 million and make it something that was a incredibly tough decision. That's what Kyrie Irving did. He opted into his $36.5 million deal with the Brooklyn Nets, or at least that's what he told The Athletic yesterday. And his quote, and this is priceless, quote, "Normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. See you in the fall. A11 even." Yes, Kyrie, you're daring to be different by taking $36.5 million. How brave of you. Way to go way over the top, Kyrie. I love it. I mean, come on. And the funny part about all this is that he had a list of teams that he wanted to be signed and traded to, right? He wanted that whole deal to go through. And nobody's really interested in Kyrie, which is weird. Yes, Kyrie comes with a ton of baggage, off the court stuff, moodiness, just weird opinions, everything else. Like, I get it. Kyrie comes with all of that, and it's not a lot of fun. But he's also a guy that this year, when he did play, like scored 40 points in 4 separate games over the span of like 8 games, including a 60-point outburst against Orlando. I know that, and I remember it well because I backed the Nets that night. So he's still got that level of game. And look, and he's a guy, even though he only played 29 games last year, still averaged over 27 points a game. And he still is an elite talent and one of the best players in this league. But since they couldn't find a deal for him, well, if he opts out, he doesn't have anywhere to go, right? Like, he might not get $36.5 million. So the natural decision, I know it was daring to be different, Kyrie, the natural decision was to opt in and, stay with the team that you're currently on. Oh, God, how crazy is it that you did that? Now, this actually does affect the Atlanta Hawks. I'll tell you how here in a moment. I want to remind you that BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your sports betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including Major League Baseball. And BetOnline, your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, live betting, esports scores. And BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net, the fastest, easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, so Kyrie Irving now stays with the Brooklyn Nets. And how does this affect the Atlanta Hawks? Well, again, that is a team right now with a healthy Kevin Durant and a healthy Kyrie and even a question mark Ben Simmons, but still with everybody else they got there, Seth Curry, Patty Mills and Andre Drummond, that's a better team than the Hawks right now. That's a better roster than the Hawks right now. Talked about the Hawks being objectively the sixth best team. So you have Miami, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn, Toronto. I mean, right there is kind of where you draw the line, and that puts the Hawks at 7. Right? I think that's fair. You want to argue that the Hawks are better than Toronto? I tell you, Toronto's still better defensively. They're a lot better defensively, and sometimes that's enough to win. Um, it's Charlotte, Cleveland that are all sort of coin flips with the Hawks. But this, if you were a Hawks fan, you were kind of hoping that Kyrie Irving jumped ship and went to the Western Conference. That makes the job in the East a little bit easier without Kyrie. Now things are a little bit tougher once again. And oh, by the way, I'm not 100% sure what the Hawks are going to get in return, but you're about to trade away one of your best pieces. I know that bothers people when I say that John Collins is one of the Hawks' best pieces, but flatly and objectively, he is. But by all accounts, the Hawks are about to trade him away to somebody else. What they're going to get in return, does that just take Brooklyn? Does that make them better than Brooklyn? For all of Brooklyn's flaws and faults and challenges and problems and everything else, whatever the Hawks get in return, name it right now. Think about it. Name it right now. Name the player that makes the Hawks better than Brooklyn. Because whatever they've been bandied about out there, and even DeAndre Ayton, does DeAndre Ayton make the Hawks better than Brooklyn? Not if it's a healthy KD and a healthy Kyrie. That's a whole different ball of wax. And I know the Hawks beat that team at the end of the year last year, but, this was a Nets team that had a whole different set of issues than everybody else in the league. Next year, they won't have that. Next year, Kyrie Irving can play in as many games in every state, in every city, and every arena across America. So there shouldn't be any real issues with the Nets being better than what they were last year. Are the Nets likely to be a play-in team tournament again next year? I would doubt it. But find me the player again, whatever the Hawks trade, that makes them better than the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and everybody else. And oh, by the way, they possibly could still have Ben Simmons playing for them, and most likely will. So that's right now a better roster. When you trade away John Collins, I don't think there's a player you're going to get that has been talked about. Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Ayton, whoever else it was that makes the Hawks better. And that's certainly trouble. Coming up next, now that the Braves have gotten Freddie Freeman in the rearview mirror, what's in front of them and how do they get there? We'll take a look at the schedule coming up next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. More to come. Stay with us.